So let me say, it is my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you the President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Op 8 november 2016 kozen de Amerikanen Donald Trump als hun nieuwe president. De man die te extreem, labiel en onbeschoft leek, is binnenkort de machtigste man op aarde. In de dagen na 8 november kwam een groot aantal Amerikanen in verschillende steden de straat op om te protesteren tegen hun nieuwe leider. De man die de Verenigde Staten opnieuw groots wil maken, zorgt net voor een hoop verdeeldheid. We trokken met een camper van Alabama naar Washington D.C. Een roadtrip doorheen conservatieve staten, doorheen Trumpland. In gesprek met burgerrechtenactivisten, hillbillies, countrymuzikanten, mannen, vrouwen en wapenfans. Een roadtrip op zoek naar een antwoord op de vraag: wie zijn de Trump-kiezers?
This is where I get in. Start the car. We'll be about ready to roll. Welcome to Selma, Alabama, the iconic city of the world for the right to vote.
We have no alternative but to keep moving with determination. We've gone too far now to turn back.
My name is Loretta Carter Wimberly. I lived through segregation. I went to segregated schools, but since the time of integration, I've been to other schools. So it did not affect me in such a way that it seemed to be now affecting the young people. So I think that a lot of progress has been made, but we have to be very, very careful to remember that when you want to put one person down and do not want to accept them as another human being, then it becomes a situation where we begin to fight each other. So we're at that period now going through this election, but we got to be optimistic.
Can I ball? Can I chill? Can I stunt? Would I live long enough to raise my son? Made something out of nothing. Do nothing where I'm from. Can your boy do something productive for once? And once a nigga make it.
Today, Martin Luther King was killed. It was very devastating. We were in school, and I can remember the whole school we were all in tears. And it was just hard to understand why. Why would they kill him? When he was doing so much for the country. It wasn't just for black people. Just look past the color of my skin. Because once you take off the skin, what? We all look the same. We bleed the same blood. And that's the thing that Martin Luther King was trying to teach us. And that was some of the things he taught us when he would come here and speak at this church. That we should need to treat each other with humanity.
If you don't use it, you surely will lose.
We have come a long way. You know, it was just like my father. He cried when he saw Obama being inaugurated as president of the United States, because to him, that was something he thought he would never see in his lifetime.
Going back and acting like we are already there does not get us there. There's so much unfinished work here in Selma and all across the United States. Electing Barack Obama, the first African-American president, the false expectation was that we had arrived at a post-racial America, which was created a whole lot of false expectations on the parts of a whole lot of people. And yet it also revealed and exposed just how deeply racist this country still is.
As a black person and any other black person that runs up to that poll and say they're going to vote for Donald Trump, they're just being misled. They're being either paid, misled, or they just, you can't do that. We fought for the right to vote. Women couldn't even vote back then. So we fought for the right to vote. Yeah, go vote, but make sure you choose somebody that's going to do you some help, give you some help, and not do you no harm. Why would you put somebody in office that's going to take you back another 100 years? Don't make sense.
I'm Rick Lewis. I live here in Montgomery, Alabama, and we're voting for Trump because we're conservatives and we want somebody new in office.
But when the path grows in and our questions have no answers.
This has been a very difficult election because the two primary candidates, they do not come from a strong worldview that is Christ-centered. Mr. Trump, of course, he's a famous businessman. All of the record on his past is very dark. So, it's hard for us to say, oh, this is a knight in shining armor. This is a wonderful, godly man. Just really questionable.
We're going to have a huge attendance at our Bible Fellowship classes. Call everybody on your roll. Let's have a giant group here, and let's celebrate what God is doing in our midst.
Now, sadly, Hillary Clinton, Miss Clinton, and the Democratic Party, they're pro-abortion. And that seems like just so contrary to what God would have as a value system. And there are other components of the Democratic platform that would make it very difficult for us to say this aligns with a Christian biblical worldview.
Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come again to us and teach us what we are to do with the child who will be born.
Abortion, same-sex marriage, all these things are biblical principles where God has ordained a particular lifestyle for us because he believes that it's our path to safety and remaining close to him. And so that when we take those biblical principles and say we don't agree with them, we're going to promote our own sense of what we think is right and wrong, that we then come out from under God's protective shadow. And so my prayer for our country is that it will incline its heart toward God, and that when we do, we're safe under God's protection and God's shadow so that he supernaturally protects a nation as he did Israel.
For me personally, it would be almost impossible for me to come out after weighing the pros and cons and say, yes, this is the iconic person that represents God's best for America. And so that's why there's somewhat of a dilemma in evangelical Christianity.
I'm not going to vote for neither one of the sorry bastards that's running. Because ain't neither one of them going to help us. Not for us in this part of the country. They for the rich, and that's all they're going to help us, the rich.
I drive a 2006 GMC truck, and I love it.
space exploration has been ground to a halt thanks to ridiculous restrictions imposed on NASA by Washington politicians who don't know the first thing about space travel. They write here that Trump wants America to lead in space once again.
You know, we're going to keep that space program going, folks. It's got to keep going. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you, everybody.
Young people, us students like me, are virtually going to be leaders of the world. I think the best time or best thing to happen in this world is a time where everyone's at peace. There's the idea of war isn't existing anymore, because I feel like that's holding back countries and certain people. They're not as innovating as much or as fast as they should be.
The idea that we stopped using our space program just to assert our dominance and started using it to really benefit everyone here on the planet, I think is a huge mental change for us as a nation. It was a change from our space program as this cold, austere, purely American thing to, I don't know, off the world for the world, right?
All of us together can make this world a better place. I know that sounds cheesy, but
tomorrow brings. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow brings. Lord, it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain. Today, been a long, lonesome day.
Hello, my name is Ron. And this is my wife, Jerry, and we are here in this great place to continue our visit all the way around the country in the United States. In terms of who we will vote for, is going to be Hillary Clinton. We feel that with Donald, we fear that it could be World War III with somebody like him. I don't know, do you have some other things to say?
Yes, I'm concerned that Donald Trump is causing a real movement in the United States towards lack of civility. This whole reality show image that he has, to me, he seems like a spoiled egomaniac.
Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow brings. Well, it may bring sunshine, and again it may bring rain.
Thanks, Randy. Catch up with you in about 15. Jesse Scott here at the factory in Franklin. As we say yeehaw for Wednesday afternoon, it's Sam Lewis right now at Roots Radio.
I saw you through the window, caught you looking at me. Remember how they told us age was the enemy. Still you held my hand so tight. We said each other's names.
It's a tense time in this country right now, but I don't know that that's translated into the music, nor do I really see the audiences being particularly political when they are gathering together to go to a concert. They're there really to just be joyous and experience everybody else being joyous at the same time. I think somewhere along the line that a lot of the folks that have been listening to country music have sort of been categorized as low information voters, and it's easier almost to present it with a thought toward it's my country, right or wrong.
Traditionally, country music has been, classified as rednecks liking it. But as far as Democrat or Republican, I don't really see political lines. But more people say that country music is the music of the Southern man or the more redneck type person. But it's kind of crossing into lots of other things.
People, say things to me like, well, I'm sure you're a Democrat since you're a musician, and that makes no sense to me at all. I'm an American. I'm not someone who's leaning to either side. I'm very liberal about some things, very conservative about others, but I don't think that it's one side or the other.
My name is Hunter Garston, and I am from Tennessee. Yeah, I voted for Donald J. Trump. I mean, definitely feels like I'm making a difference. So I feel like this election is probably more important than most presidential elections. It'll change the face of the United States. Like, less government intervention. That people who pave their way for their success deserve every penny that they get, and I feel like the safety of America as a whole comes first before anything. So.
Dear Polly, come go along with me.
I'm Kim and Craig Norwood. We are in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and we're praying for the election. We're praying for God's will, but I voted for Trump. I feel like from the last 8 years in our White House, I don't feel like that things have been done correctly. I feel like we should give him a chance. I don't like how he kind of loses his temper a few times or is judgmental on women a little bit, but I feel like, he has daughters and he has plenty of women working for him, so I don't think he's as judgmental as everybody wants to say.
I don't know. I'm not sure how a female could vote for Donald Trump. Actually, I really wish that they were more aware of the history of the female vote in the United States. He's done a brilliant job of demonizing women. It's a scary time. I feel very worried for women.
It's like we're all pretty different. These elections are so polarizing.
Yeah. If you have sons, do you really want them to grow up thinking it's okay to degrade women and rate them just on their looks? We all know, call a spade a spade. Looks are important. We live in a society, all that stuff. But there's no need to go outside to intentionally go out there and lead with that kind of behavior. George W. Bush looks like a walk in the park now.
I know. And it's hard to understand people voting for Trump, and yet half the country still seems to be standing by this. Plus, it also teaches men that you can have really, really bad hair and still take over things.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's correct. I don't think most people can get by with that kind of hair.
No.
Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart.
You're going to ask me who I voted for, aren't you?
That's what's more or less the question.
I want the first woman president. Does that tell you who it is? Girl power.
When we're all together.
If I had to choose an issue that is the most important to me, it would be the unborn. I would fight for the life of the unborn. I believe that also in the border situation that we do need this other border, a wall. We do need that because of potential for terrorism. Those are very, very important, and I believe that Donald Trump is an instrument for change because he's unlike any person that has ever run before.
Cast my vote for Trump. I'm proud of it.
I think he's what America needs. We need to get rid of all the politicians in Washington, D.C., a new start, get somebody that can maybe help our economy, because I think that's first and foremost.
Today, in societies that we're dealing with in this area, there's a part of this culture in America that doesn't believe we need the right to defend our freedoms anymore. So there's part of us that still feel that we have to have these weapons to defend our freedoms, which is the Second Amendment. So I'm a very staunch defender of that Second Amendment. My name is Michael Skinner. I've been in the gun show industry for going on about 25 years. Was raised around weapons. My first weapon was bought for me before I was born. So I basically came out of the womb with a gun. One of the things that is the hardest to explain is that the cities in the United States that have the hardest and most strict gun laws have the most murders. Why is that? The law didn't stop anything. It's morals of the people. If you go and you take a look at the people that commit these murders, most of the times they didn't buy this weapon legally. They either stole it from somebody that legally owned it. They either attained it illegally. If you follow the laws and you enforce the laws, then we stop a lot of these problems. Best way to stop a bad man with a gun is a good man with a gun.
I've been laid off 3 times in the last 2 years, and to be honest with you, this is my last straw. If this coal mine doesn't work out, then I'm going to be forced to retire or relocate. You know, these things have been going on for years and years, and it's just another stranglehold on the coal industry. You know, they promised to shut down the coal industry. President Obama said, you know, when he went in office, when he was campaigning, he said, you know, I'll put the coal mining will be out. You know, there won't be any more coal mines. If they do try to survive, they'll go bankrupt.
Our area is collateral damage in the climate change debate. Our coal miners, if we were out west, would be our cowboys. They are independent. They're not big talkers. They do their thing, they love their family, and they serve God. They are some of the best Americans in this country, and they have not been given a fair shake. When you just see people that just the world says we don't need you anymore, and how that impacts you, if you're not changed, you don't have a heart. Coding was a trade, and it was like welding, and something you could learn, and you learned with some training and more by doing. You know, we hired 10 coal industry, 1 non-coal industry. We only had 9 show up of the coal industry people. These folks, when I called that guy, he interviewed, he passed all the tests, he could have done it. Yeah. He didn't show up. I sat right here and I called him. I said, you know, we started today. And he said, yeah. I said, aren't you coming? He said, no. He said, I can't do this. He said, I'm just a dumb old coal miner. I can't learn to code. Mining gets in your blood. It's like farming. Okay? It's something you take great pride in. It's teamwork. You're a tiger. You're a tiger. Trump will carry this region hands down. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he makes me nervous. You know, he does. He says so many things that I think are true, and but yet you wonder if he means it.
Make America Great Again. Maar wat betekent dat juist?
En voor wie wordt het dan weer great?
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
Anti-abortus, vrije wapendracht. Voor Trump-kiezers zijn het kwesties van leven of dood. Veel belangrijker dan vrouwenrechten of racisme. Maar wat ze zeiden stond vaak in schril contrast met Trumps publieke discours.
I'm not afraid or scared, but I'm certainly concerned. Yeah, I want to see this country go back to the founding fathers' wishes that all people are created equal.
This might be the first presidential election I voted in because I really didn't want Trump to win, but America has spoken, so I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Eén ding werd duidelijk tijdens deze roadtrip. De Verenigde Staten bestaan niet. Het is een land met twee snelheden, met twee soorten inwoners die elkaar nauwelijks kennen. Het wordt afwachten hoe Donald Trump die Verenigde Staten opnieuw zal bijeenbrengen.
To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time.
Voelde niet goed, Tim? Ik heel veel zin, hè? Amai, maar wel lekker. Aanrader. Hoe warm is het?
Veel te warm. Ik heb een muts mee, ik heb een vlies mee en ik heb een windjacker mee. Ik heb alleen maar lange broeken en wollen sokken.